The Calgary Flames just robbed the entire NHL by signing one of the best young goalies the league has seen this century. The September of Craig Conroy continues as he has locked up Flames phenom Dustin Wolf to a long-term deal, meaning there will be no questions between the pipes for the foreseeable future. Give me an AWOOO because this is huge. We're going to get into all that more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe because YouTube's telling me that only around 35% of the people watching are subscribed. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames and of course Dustin Wolf, then make sure you subscribe to join the Flames Digest family. But let's get this AWOOO going again because fantastic news today. It came out this morning. Unfortunately, I was locked up at work and wasn't able to get a video out until I just got home now, but the Flames have signed a 7-year extension with Dustin Wolf at an AAV of $7.5 million. So a 7-year extension. We couldn't ask for more. That is just the best news that could have happened all summer. It's so funny because, you know, the real summer, July and August, was really quiet for the Flames. And then all of a sudden, Craig Conroy, once September hit, has gone ballistic, signed Zary to a bridge deal, now has signed Wolfie to a long-term deal. And a lot of people will say 7.5 mil, that's expensive for a goalie. But with the cap going up and how good Dustin Wolf is, that could end up being an absolute steal of a deal, and it's looking like the Flames have absolutely robbed the NHL when it comes to locking up Wolf like this. And it was actually the Flames who announced it, which is great. I love when the team is the one to announce it over one of the, insiders, I suppose. For anyone who follows soccer, it just gets ruined every single time by Fabrizio Romano. But usually in the NHL, it's one of a few insiders that announces it, but when the Flames, or when the NHL team does, in this case, the Flames do it, that's always a nice bonus. But, of course, the insiders are talking as well. So Eric Francis, he confirmed Flames signed Dustin Wolf to a 7-year extension at $7.5 million. Chris Johnston said the exact same thing. Elliot Friedman, of course, was the first of them all. He said, Wolf said yesterday in Vegas he wanted to stay long-term, and it's done. Crazy that, Wolf was almost, he didn't give anything away when he said that. There was no winking or anything going on. He said that he wanted to stay long-term in Calgary, and now it has happened, and we could not be happier. Frank Saravalli, he said it as well, but he had a funny thing to kind of add. So he said Flames signed Dustin Wolf to a 7-year, $52.5 million contract extension following an incredible rookie season, which it was. It's a mostly unprecedented contract for a goaltender with Wolf's NHL experience at just 71 games played, surpassing deals for Shesterkin and others in total money and AAV. Well, guess what? The league continues to go on. The cap continues to go up. That's just what happens. You don't have to throw any dampeners on it, Frank. We know you don't love the Flames, but come on. You don't have to say that either. But it is true. I'm kidding. He said Wolf had an incredible rookie season, which he did. And honestly, it is a fantastic contract at the end of the day, no matter what. Pat Steinberg, he got talking as well. He said both Calgary and Wolf have said publicly all summer a long-term deal was the goal. Huge to get this done prior to the season starting. $52.5 million total for Wolf. Calgary buys 4 UFA years with this deal. So obviously he still had a few RFA years left in him, but this goes past that and locks him up for 4 of a potential what could have been UFA years. This is just, honestly, this is amazing. At the bottom, Sarah says, what a way to start the day. Because this was announced very early in the morning. Wish I could have got a video out sooner. But either way, it is just fantastic news. And overall, knowing that Wolf wanted to stay here long-term the whole time is so, it makes your heart feel real nice as a Flames fan. Because we've had issues with players not wanting to play in Calgary long-term, especially Americans. Wolfie, he's an American. He wanted to be in Calgary this whole time. He's had some great memories so far here at the AHL level, trying to do the same at the NHL level. He spends a lot of the time here as well, it seems, based off this summer and last year's summer as well, spending a lot of time in Calgary, even though he's from California. So just overall, so happy for him, but obviously so happy for the Flames as well. Again, this could end up being an absolute steal of a deal, which is amazing. And Ryan Pike, he points out something interesting as well. He says, just imagine how much more expensive Dustin Wolf would be if he was taller. And that's so true. If he had, kind of what has become the traditional NHL goalie build, long gone are the, your Darren Pangs of the NHL, your Mike Vernons in a way, I guess. But Wolf, definitely a smaller guy in terms of what the NHL is used to. So just imagine how much more expensive this contract could have been if he were, let's say, 6'6", 250 or whatever. Okay, I know the goalies aren't that heavy, but still, they look that heavy with the pads on. But it is something interesting to point out. I think this is a very fair deal and could end up being quite a steal for the Flames if, all goes to plan. I will say right now, I envision this deal maybe not looking fantastic for the next couple years here, just while the Flames are still figuring things out, not necessarily ready to contend. But once they have that young core develop a little more and are ready to truly pursue Lord Stanley, then this again could end up looking like an absolute robbery done by Craig Conroy. And we know Wolf wanted to be here. Maybe that was part of the money process of, him thinking longer term and just thinking down the line. But overall, I am thrilled with this contract. So happy to have Wolf for at least another 7 years once the extension kicks in. It is just honestly phenomenal. What a summer. Now let's get into the kind of rationale, I guess, behind the money here. So there's a little article that came out. It is from The Athletic. So they write why the Flames signed him long term. Why not just a short-term one? Well, a 7th-round goaltender who fell in the draft because of his size, yet still proved to be a winner at every level he's played, whether in junior or in the AHL. The organization believed in him even when he was 3rd on the depth chart behind Markstrom and Vladar. So clearly they've been believing in him for a while, literally since he got drafted, so why not believe in the long-term vision as well? After finally getting his chance to start last season, he initially started splitting time with Vladar last year. Wolf didn't look back. The Flames struggled with scoring, but Wolf nearly single-handedly won them games and put the Flames into the playoff conversation up until the final week of the season. He's more than earned the distinction of being the team's #1 goalie of the present and beyond, that coming from Julian MacKenzie. So it shows that the Flames have always had a belief in Wolf, but Wolf has kind of earned this long-term deal as well. Wolf wanted to be in Calgary this whole time, was vocal about it, was honest about it, and they came to a deal. So in no way do I see this as, needing more of a justification in a way, but there's your rationale for part of it. Another writer writes that Wolf's stellar rookie campaign is another reason. So this is quite the commitment from the Flames after only one NHL season, but it's hard to blame them after how great Wolf played as a rookie. He's one of the best skating goalies in the world, and that quickness immediately translates at the highest level. His 26.38 goals saved above expected were the 7th most in the league, and the most by a goalie under 24 years old since Evolving Hockey began tracking the stat back in 2007. Now, Wolf has the speed to challenge every shot and perhaps more importantly, the processing ability to go with it. His reads were excellent for such a young goalie. The future appears bright for Wolf, that coming from Jesse Granger. So again, Wolf has earned it. He's shown that he's a really good goalie. That's why you sign him long term. When you have a really good goalie on your hands, you want him for as long as you can, especially because, between the pipes is the biggest question for essentially any contending team. Do you have that figured out? Awesome. You can probably win the cup. Do you not? You might not be a great team. So just knowing that we don't have that problem is so, so nice. Wolf is just unreal as he showed, and we expect that to continue. Will he probably regress the next couple of years with the uncertainty with the lineup in front of him? Yes, but down the road, fingers crossed, he's going to be amazing. I love it. Now, last thing I wanted to show was off of NHL Discussion's post. So they said that the Flames have extended Dustin Wolf to that contract. And then they asked, do you think it's a player-friendly deal, a team-friendly deal, or just unfriendly in general? And more than half the people say this is a team-friendly deal, which again alludes to the fact that the Flames essentially robbed the NHL in this way. This is a steal. It's a team-friendly deal, which is just unreal. Some people said, had some comments. They said, so big money, but this is going to age well, no doubt, with the exclamation point. And then it said, hard to find a good goalie these days, even harder to find a good goalie as young as Wolf, and Wolf is awesome. Great work by Calgary. And last one here says, great value considering the current market. So these, I assume, are all kind of coming from, not Flames fans. These are just the wider population of hockey fans, and it seems like the general consensus is that this is a great signing for the Flames. Just unreal to see. Looks like the poll is going to end around those numbers as well, which is fantastic. But what a day. What a day. Who saw this coming right after the Zary contract extension? This is just what a time to be a Flames fan. The future is looking bright for sure. Now let's get into the comment of the day to wrap up this video, as we love to do here on the channel. Comes from yesterday's video, of course it does. And this was a good one from good old Guitar Memoir. They say, optimistic times for the Flames. We are awash with prospects. Camp will be competitive and fun to watch. Go Flames, go. We are now even more optimistic in the most positive way possible after this Wolf extension. I mean, it is just happy times. This September has been fantastic so far. Let's hope it continues as we do get into training camp. Even the little rookie showdown, or whatever it's called, next gen something, and then training camp and the preseason. It is just so gosh darn fun. I love hockey. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.